Good morning, everyone. It's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Frequently Asked Fridays. This video series is all about answering all of your questions and filling these videos with as much information as possible. There's a new episode posted every other Friday, and the best part of this video series, aside from all of the information that I disclose, is my partnership with Wholesale Ninjas, because every single episode in the series, Wholesale Ninjas gives away a 100 count liquidation lot to one of my viewers. This is episode number 14, so that means we've already had 13 winners so far. And how exactly do you enter to win one of these liquidation lots, you might be asking? Well, all you have to do is ask me a question to be featured on the next episode. Down in the video description, all you have to do is ask me a question. Just make sure to start the question with 5 question marks, because that will indicate entry into the next giveaway. My channel is all about helping entrepreneurs make money from home, so if content like that interests you, do make sure to subscribe. And if you like this video series, make sure to hit the thumbs up button while you're down there. There was a lot of really great questions from the last episode, and so before I get into answering those selected questions, I do want to take just a minute to thank Wholesale Ninjas for partnering with me for this video series and sponsoring this video and giving away a 100 count liquidation lot to one of the viewers that asked a question. If you don't know who Wholesale Ninjas is, they are a liquidation company that I found over a year and a half ago doing a basic Google search when I was trying to get into sourcing liquidation for my eBay store. A couple of years ago, I was brand new to liquidation. I was trying out a few different companies, and I was basically using Google as a way to do research for liquidation companies out there, and I wanted to try to find the most reputable companies out there that I could source with, because I knew that liquidation was really, really risky. When I stumbled upon their site, I noticed that they had a lot of health and beauty, which was the kind of merchandise that I was interested in sourcing. And so I bought a few test lots, and I was so impressed with what I got. I actually reached out to them and I asked them if they would maybe give me a coupon code for my viewers, and they were more than happy to oblige, and I have been working with them ever since. I do still have an active coupon code for them. The code is Lindey25, and it gets you $25 off of anything on the Wholesale Ninjas website. But if you want to try to win a free lot from Wholesale Ninjas, just go down into the comment section and ask me a question to be featured on episode 15 of Frequently Asked Fridays. Just make sure to put the 5 question marks indicating entry into the giveaway. All right, let's get into the questions from the last episode and find out who our 14th winner is. The redheaded reseller asks, "Hi Lindey, hello. How do you keep track of how long you've had an item and when to mark it down? Thanks. Love your positive vibe." Thank you so much. I wish I had a revolutionary tool that would help you track when you listed something and when to mark it down, like the perfect time, but I honestly don't have one, primarily because that's not how I operate with my business. I do know that there are a lot of sellers out there that have merchandise that they want to move in a timely manner, and so they have a system for marking something down at 60 days or 90 days or 6 months to move it out and turn it. I like to price things competitively enough to where I turn and burn inventory so it moves out fast all on its own. So I'm not really paying attention to certain time frames. I'm not saying to myself, oh, I have this item for 60 days, now I need to drop the price so that I can move it out. That's not how I choose to operate my business. I will do that if expiration dates are approaching, but as a general rule, I don't really have a set time frame before I mark something down. That being said, there are sellers that I have spoken with that have developed their own system for tracking this. My personal favorite thing that I have heard a seller say that's a really super easy way to track how long something has been listed is by altering the price by a penny, and that lets you know how long it's been listed. I cannot take full credit for this method. I heard another seller talking about it at eBay Open. I was at a conference that I attended, and they were telling me about this, and I thought it was so brilliant. I thought that if I was ever going to have a system to where if something was listed for a certain amount of time, that's when I would mark it down. And what they told me they did was they would price everything and drop it a penny every 30 days. So what they would do is when they listed something brand new on eBay, they would price it at $8.99 or $10.99 or $30.99. They would put a 99 at the end of the price. And then every 30 days, they would go through and they would drop everything a penny. So if something was listed for 30 days, they would go in and they would edit the price from 99 to 98. And then the next month, they would drop it from 98 to 97, and then 97 to 96, and so on and so forth. So every 30 days, they were going through and they were dropping the price a penny. And so when they could just look at the price of an item and see that the price was $29.92, they would know that that item had been there for 8 months, right? And so that's how they tracked it to know how long it had been listed. And I thought that that was just a really brilliant way to track that, so you could just see it at a glance just by simply looking at the price. And then there are other people that I would talk to that would actually put the date that they listed the item in the custom SKU while they were actually creating the listing. So the custom SKU portion is right underneath where you would put the title. While they're creating the listing, they would put the date in the custom SKU, and that, of course, is only for you to see. The buyer can't see that. So you would actually be able to see the date in the custom SKU. So when you are going through looking your items, all you would have to do is glance at the custom SKU and you would be able to see when exactly you listed that item, and you could determine whether or not you wanted to drop the price depending on how long it's been listed. So ultimately it is up to you because it is your business, and so you would need to be the one to decide how long you wanted to hang on to things before dropping the price. But those are just a couple of ways that you can do that to keep track of when you actually listed the item. That doesn't involve something like keeping an entirely different spreadsheet that can be really, really time consuming. A seller Hunt asks, "Hi Lindey, hello. Love your inspirational videos, thank you." Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys. How do you stay so focused and stay on task? Well, it ain't easy, let me tell you that. No, really, I don't like to work. I don't. I've never been a fan of work. That's part of the reason why I think I'm an entrepreneur. Funny enough, I'm being serious here. I think that being able to be an entrepreneur helps with the fact that I don't like to work, because when you have an actual job where you go work for other people, you have to work, right? And you have to do what someone wants you to do. They give you a task, you have to work, you have to do it because it's your job. But I don't like to work. And so being an entrepreneur is enabling that a little bit because you are your own boss. And I know that you know this already because you're asking me how to stay on task, how to get things done. And it's definitely not easy. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because you don't have a boss breathing down your neck. You know that you have to stay on task and you have to get things done. Otherwise, you don't make the money. You don't get your job done. And so one of the things that I tend to do to stay on task is it really is all about mindset. You know, if you have something that you need to do, I like to entice myself by bribing myself. Honestly, I will tell myself that as long as I get A, B, and C done by the time I need to have it done, then I'll reward myself by, you know, watching a movie that I've wanted to watch, or I'll get to go out to dinner. Like, I'll have a reward for myself, and that will help me. And then it really is a mind game where if you start to feel yourself getting distracted, if you're listing and then you find yourself wanting to pick up your phone and scroll social media, or you want to, you know, oh, I have the TV on while I'm working, and so I'm working and now I'm going to glance over at the TV. If you notice yourself doing that, you have to be adult enough about it to redirect yourself and like change your mind on a dime. And it's a lot easier said than done, that's for sure. So another tool that I use is airplane mode on my phone. I will actually turn my phone on do not disturb, or I'll put it on airplane mode so that I don't get notifications that distract me. And if you can't have airplane mode turned on because maybe you're uploading things to eBay through your phone, you might want to consider just deleting apps off of your phone that you find a distraction. You know, if it's really hard for you not to go on Twitter or not to go on Instagram, just delete the apps from your phone while you're working. That will completely eliminate all distraction, because you can't just scroll through your phone and open up an app, you know, and just because you delete the app, it doesn't mean that it's deleted. You can always re-download it at the end of the day. It takes seconds to download and seconds to delete. So if you start your workday and you just say, okay, I need to delete these 3 apps so I'm not distracted, it's not really hard to, reinstall them at the end of the day if it's really going to help you with distraction. But I think we're all adults here, right? We're all adults here. I think if you go a few days deleting the apps that are distracting you, that you will learn that while you're working, not to even look for them, even if you don't delete them. You'll learn not to look for them. But that's really how I choose to stay on task. I bribe myself with treats, and I delete apps or put my phone on airplane mode so that I get my work done without being easily distracted. Olivia T asks, hi Lindey. Hi Olivia. Would turning off free returns and adding buyer pay shipping conflict with my sales? I currently have free returns and had to refund the buyer and eat the return shipping after I receive the item. It's frustrating. Yes, it is frustrating, but unfortunately, if you do free shipping and free returns, you're gonna end up eating a lot of costs. That's why a lot of the times when sellers offer free shipping, free returns, one or the other or both in conjunction, we are really crossing our fingers and banking on the fact that it's only gonna happen once in a blue moon and we're not gonna have to be constantly eating fees. To answer your question, it won't cause a huge hiccup in your store if you do it a little bit at a time, but really any major change to your store is going to kind of shock the system a little bit. So if you had, say, 500 listings and you bulk edited all 500 and you switched all of them from free returns or free shipping to buyer paid shipping or returns, if you did all of them at once, that is considered a shock to the system. But if you just went through and just slowly did maybe 5 a day until they were all done, that's not really gonna have a huge negative effect on your store. Even if you decided to do all 500 at the same time, it will be a shock to the system, but I wouldn't expect you to have much negative repercussion for more than a couple of weeks. But doing it all at once will definitely do something. It's just hard to say exactly what it'll do. Will it drop sales temporarily for a week or two? Will it completely cut all of your sales for 30 days? There's really, no way to know. But in my personal experience, when you do a major change, there is a hiccup with your sales for a short term. But if you just do a little bit at a time, you should be fine. Christy Talbot asks, I finally received the message from eBay saying I have to register for managed payments. It's time. However, I do my banking through my PayPal account. Will I still be able to link managed payments to my PayPal, or will I have to set up a bank account? Unfortunately, you cannot link PayPal to managed payments. You will have to get a bank account. But you know what? It's really not that bad. It's not. Managed payments, yeah, you have to kind of move completely away from PayPal when it comes to managed payments, but realistically, you should have a bank account for your business anyway, because you want to keep all of your funds separate. That's exactly what you're doing with PayPal, but really having a bank account is the way to go if you are going to operate a business. It's not that you need a business bank account, but you need to have a separate bank account that you just use for business. You don't have to go out and get a business license. You don't have to rush out and get a DBA or an LLC, nothing like that. You can open up a personal checking account and just use that strictly for your business. Never intermingle your personal and your business together. That will make taxes a nightmare if you end up getting audited. Just have a separate bank account. It doesn't have to be business. It can be a personal bank account, and just make sure that you use that for only eBay, just like you were using PayPal. But I do have a couple videos all about eBay managed payments in case you have missed them. I will make sure to link them down in the video description. I'll also pin it to the top pinned comment in the comment section. Anything that I reference in this video, I always try to put in the video description or the top pinned comment. If there's a video that I reference or something like that, you'll find it there. But I have I want to say 2 videos about managed payments, talking about how it works, my experience with it so far, little quirks that I've seen, and just basically what to expect with managed payments. So if you are one of the ones that has been waiting for managed payments and eBay's telling you it's your time, those videos might be helpful. But yes, you do have to have a separate bank account. You cannot use PayPal with managed payments. Howard Snyder asks, hello, Lindey. Hello, Howard. Was unboxing and listing my first Wholesale Ninjas box, and so far I'm happy with what I got. So glad to hear. Question, when you have many of the same item and the item has expiration dates, what is the best way to list those? If you have a video that goes over this, please link it and I'll watch it. Thanks. So, do I have a video all about expiration dates? I think I talked about making one in one of these Frequently Asked Friday videos, and I never did it. I haven't done it yet. Let me, expiration date video. See, it's on my list. This is my to make list. And then I put it in my phone so I don't forget it. If you are newer to selling items that have expiration dates, I definitely recommend having separate listings depending on the expiration date, because that's going to help you not accidentally send out an item that has a further out expiration date and then risk the ones with the closer date expiring before they sell through. How I choose to handle it is I will do it one of two ways. So the first way that I might do it is if I have an item that has multiples and I have some that have an expiration date that is very quickly approaching, but then some that expire really far out, I will actually do two separate listings and I will price them differently, because the ones that are going to expire the fastest, I want those to sell before they expire, so I'll price those at a cheaper price, versus the ones that expire a little bit further out, I will price those a little bit higher because I know that they have time to sell. So I will do that if I have expiration dates that are really, really close and ones that are really, really far out for the same item. If I don't have that, if I have just a bunch of expiration dates that are a little bit further out, but they're all roughly within the same time frame, like maybe they all expire between June and July of this year, then I will just keep all of those in a single listing, and I will select the expiration date that is the closest to advertise in the listing. And that will also tell me when I go to pull the item out of inventory to ship it, that is the first expiration date that I need to look for. So in that example, if I have an item that expires in June, July, and August, and they're all in the same listing, I have June as being the expiration date. So when it sells, I know that June is the date that I need to look for first when I'm pulling it to do shipping. But if you don't have a lot of experience selling expired items, if you have the listings to spare, I do highly recommend having separate listings based on expiration date. That way, when that item sells, you know the exact expiration date that you need to pull and ship to the buyer without the risk of any of them expiring before they sell. And I made a note, so I will do my best to get a video talking all about expiration dates filmed and uploaded, hopefully here in the next month or two. Vicky Sandusky asks, hi Lindey. Hi Vicky. Thanks for all the wonderful videos, so helpful. Thank you very much. We sometimes travel to smaller towns here in Arizona to source and are toying with the idea of filming our adventures. When did you decide it was time to start sharing videos? Was it scary putting yourself out there? So I think I've talked about this before. Was it scary putting myself out there? Honestly, I wasn't scared because I didn't actually think people would watch them. Honestly, it was, if I'm being 100% truthful, I don't know what possessed me to start putting out videos. I think that I was watching YouTube videos, and a lot of the content that I was consuming, I was personally not finding it very relatable, because I was watching a lot of people on YouTube that were talking about doing 6 figures a year, and they were selling all of these things that I didn't understand. Like my dad would go to garage sales and find things for $25 and sell it for $50. And I was watching people on YouTube do this, and I was watching people on YouTube make all of this money doing all of these things. And I was really intrigued by it, but I found it unrelatable to me. I couldn't really find anybody that was talking about, making a few $100 a week flipping stuff that they did retail arbitrage for, which at the time, retail arbitrage was not a huge video topic on YouTube. It was, you know, a lot of garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, stuff like that. Nobody was really talking about retail arbitraging the kind of items that I was personally selling. You know, I was going to Walmart and I was flipping things like barbecue sauce and bubble gum, and nobody was talking about that on YouTube. And I guess I just kind of got a bug up my butt one day and decided, hey, maybe I'll put out videos like this because nobody's talking about it. And I am actually making money doing this and nobody else on YouTube is talking about that. So I started putting out videos. I didn't really have time to be scared, wondering what people were gonna think, because I honestly didn't think anybody was gonna watch. So I wasn't really concerned with what people were gonna think because I didn't think anyone was gonna see them anyway. I was wrong. Yeah, so people found me, people watched me, and people liked me enough to subscribe. And so I just kept producing content and I kept connecting with all of you guys. And before I knew it, there was this whole community of friends that I had made on YouTube. And it was just really, really crazy. But I think that if you are sourcing in small towns in Arizona, if you're considering doing videos showing your adventure sourcing, do it. Absolutely do it. People love that kind of stuff. People love seeing those road tripping, sourcing videos because we all are curious about what else is out there, what things other people are sourcing that we're not sourcing, that we're not finding. Everyone is looking for an opportunity to learn. People love watching shopping videos, honestly. Some of the most popular videos on my YouTube channel early on in my channel was the ones when I was going sourcing. I was going out thrifting, and those were really popular. Even now, I consider going thrifting again because I know people enjoyed those kind of videos, and I know that videos with me, you know, just sitting here talking can, you know, get boring sometimes, and I want to go out and do things, but, you know, COVID and pandemic, and I source all liquidation now, so I don't really leave my house ever. But, you know, I know that people like those kind of videos, so I would say definitely do that. And when it comes to being worried about what other people are gonna think, you have to just kind of not care. You just have to just not give a shit, honestly. I mean, you just have to know that whatever you do, whatever you say, you're never going to make everybody happy. There's always going to be people that are going to have something bad to say. And you just have to know that that's going to happen when you're going into it. So when it happens, you can't really be surprised nor offended. You just need to be able to delete it, move on, and enjoy the content that you are creating. But yeah, I say go for it. Do it, Vicky. Linda Jones asks, hi, Lindey. Hey, Linda. First of all, I love all your videos. Thank you so much, Linda. How do you choose the right keywords? I can come up with 3 or 4 at a time, but not as many as others do. Linda, girl, we are on the same frequency. Not kidding. Just yesterday, I recorded a video all about finding keywords. I hadn't even seen the question yet. We're on the same wavelength, girl. Yeah, so I just filmed a video all about keywords. I'm hoping it's going to be up next week. So today is Friday, so that means hopefully Wednesday or Thursday next week, there's going to be a video all about keywords, finding keywords, keyword tools. So I'm not gonna get into all of the details in this video because I wanna save all of that for the video because it's full of information, tools, tips, all of that kind of stuff is gonna be in that video, because I know that something like keywords it's almost in the beginning stages of selling on eBay. That's something that's just so simple that you don't really think about it, but keywords for your eBay titles is actually pretty involved, and it really is important, and it is something that is overlooked. So there's an entire video coming up all about that, Linda. I got you, girl. Pebbles Arroyo asks, what factors do you consider when trying out a new company for sourcing? A new company. New company. I'm sure it's a typo. I'm just making some fun. Unless you meant to say Mew. And if you did mean to say Mew, I love you. Try out a Mew company for sourcing. So one of the factors that I consider when I'm trying out a new company is the fact that one bad lot does not mean that the company is bad. That's actually something that I've learned from sourcing with different liquidation companies is I've had good lots and bad lots from almost every single company that I've bought from. So that's one of the things that I consider when I'm trying out a new company, meaning I don't just buy once and then never buy again if it was a bad experience. Because a lot of the times with liquidation, it is not the company's fault that a product is bad. That it's not the company's fault that you got a pallet of stuff that might have, 50% sellable merchandise and 50% junk. Because a lot of the times these liquidation companies will get merchandise from major retailers and they're just basically selling stuff straight off the truck. A lot of liquidation companies out there don't actually put their hands on the merchandise, so they don't exactly know what they're selling. Now, that being said, there are some companies out there that do put their hands on the product, so they have a good idea of what is going in these boxes. So if you get a lot of empty boxes with a company or a lot of trash and you know that they're putting hands on the merchandise, that could be a red flag to me. But if you are buying boxes or pallets from a liquidation company that are getting it straight from a retailer and they're not putting their hands on the merchandise, then there is a chance that you could buy from them again and you actually get good stuff. So that is definitely one of the things that I consider when I'm trying out a new company. I don't usually just buy once and then never buy again because there is that whole benefit of the doubt thing. Another factor that I consider is usually price. Whenever we source merchandise for resale, cost is always a factor. And so whenever I am sourcing with a new company, I always take a look to say, okay, can I buy manifested or unmanifested? If everything that they have is manifested, chances are you're going to be paying more per unit because you have to compensate the company for taking the time to make a list of what exactly you are getting. Versus a company where it's unmanifested, you have no idea what you're getting. You're not having to compensate the company extra for taking an extra time to go through and basically list out everything that's in the lot. So if there's a company where every single thing is manifested, you are almost always going to be paying more per unit than if you go with a company that has some unmanifested options. That means it's probably going to be cheaper. Freedom Market. This is a long one, but we're going to do this thing. Freedom Market asks, "Hi Lindey, hello. I had an eBay customer leave me my first negative feedback. She complained that I refused to fix a mistake that cost me, meaning her, an extra $9. The truth is, I bent over backwards to accommodate her and even discounted her item to help pay the extra international fees for her, but I told her she would be responsible for any customs fees incurred, which is, if it's an international buyer, that's kind of common sense, right? I even told her she was welcome to cancel if she wished. She agreed and purchased the item. Then she complains about having to pay the $9, which I assume was the customs charge. So my question is, sorry for the long intro, no reason to apologize, we need that backstory. Do I ask eBay to remove her negative feedback? But wait, there's more. She marked her feedback comment as positive instead of negative. Emoji. I'm confused as to what to do. As a new seller, I'm hyper aware and concerned about my feedback rating and go out of my way to address complaints or issues ASAP, which has resulted in 100% positive feedback rating of my first 123 comments. That's good. Even though she complained, unfairly I believe, it doesn't hurt my positive feedback streak, but her comment is negative and starts with a capitalized warning. Do I bother even being bothered and ask eBay to remove the negative comment, or just move on and wait for it to get lost in more positive comments that will hopefully come soon? Lindey, I want to thank you for all of your inspiration, insight, and motivation for newbies like me and helping us to believe that we can be successful in this business. Thank you so much. Oh, I am not happy that this happened to you, but I am happy that this has come up because this is a comment question that I do get from time to time. And it really is this whole idea of how concerned should we be with what people are writing in our feedback comments? Now, you stated that she left it as a positive feedback, but a negative comment. So the question is, do you bother having that removed because it's something negative, or just leave it alone because it's a positive feedback point? It doesn't hurt your 100%, which is fantastic, because you are absolutely right. When you are a new seller, you do have to worry about that feedback percentage, because one negative feedback, if you don't have a lot of sales, one negative feedback can drop your score dramatically. So you are 100% right with being concerned about that percentage. However, I don't know if we need to be too concerned with what it says, because as a buyer, if I am buying something from a seller, I'm gonna look at that percentage, and as long as that percentage says 100% or in the high 90%, I'm not really gonna go click into their store, go click on their eBay user ID and read all of the positive comments. I'm not gonna do it. I'm going to scroll through the listing, I'm going to look at the eBay user ID, and I'm going to look and see what their percentage score is, if I'm even concerned about it. There's a lot of buyers out there that aren't even that concerned. They just wanna go to eBay, they wanna select the item that they wanna buy, they wanna get it at a good price, they wanna check out, they wanna move on with their life. There are a lot of buyers out there I don't even think are really concerned with even looking to see what percentage of positive feedback the seller's got. They just wanna buy the stuff and move on. So the fact that your eBay score is 100%, I don't know what would even make the buyers go look at the comments anyway. Obviously you have 100%, which means that they shouldn't be concerned. Now, if you had a score of 80%, then yes, I would be concerned about a buyer going and looking and seeing that negative comment, but I'm not convinced that you really need to worry about removing it. I would just leave it alone. I don't really want to take the time to hassle with it. So if you have the time to hassle with it and it really bothers you, then maybe call eBay about having it removed, but I'm not convinced the potential buyers would be scrolling through all of your comments anyway if you already have 100% feedback. That wouldn't be a concern for me. Joseph Dykes asks, how many stores do you have? If you have more than one store, please discuss your decision-making process in starting a new store. Thanks. So I do have more than one store, actually. Whenever I do my sold videos, or I run tests in my store, or I let you guys know I've listed something if you're interested in buying, I do have my public eBay store that I link, and I do have a private eBay store that I don't ever talk about, but my reasoning for that would probably be different than your reasoning for having an additional eBay store. My reasoning for doing it is because there are some things that I want to list and sell on eBay that I don't want public. So I've talked about in the past that some of the items that were retail arbitrage, I publicly put out there, and I ended up putting myself out of business because it was retail arbitrage that anybody could just buy it anytime. And what was happening was I was putting out public on my YouTube channel these retail arbitrage items, and all of you guys, well, not all of you, but you know, some people that watch my videos, not you specifically, but some people that were watching my videos were, I don't think it was malicious. So don't get me wrong. I don't think there was any malicious intent. It was, hey, Lindey's buying this and selling it for this amount. I want to buy it and sell it too. And I basically put myself out of business because there was a few things that I was selling retail arbitrage. Well, I say a few, there was a lot. There was a lot of things I was selling retail arbitrage that a lot of people essentially started copycatting exactly, and it took a lot of my business away. And so I had to stop selling those kind of items because I couldn't really sell them anymore because there was so much competition of that exact item. Now, that's not to be confused with selling a similar item. I'm talking about exact items. You know, for instance, this exact lotion. If I was going to Walmart and just buying this exact lotion for $10 and flipping it on eBay for $20, there's only so much space in the market for this exact lotion. So what was basically happening was everyone was seeing that I was selling this exact lotion, even though it wasn't this exact lotion, and they were buying that exact lotion. And suddenly, when I was only competing against 10 other sellers, suddenly thousands of people are seeing that I'm selling this lotion, and then they're going and they're buying that lotion. And now my 10 competing sellers have turned into 10,000 new listings on eBay and it put myself out of business. So that's why I have a separate eBay store for that kind of stuff. But there are other people that have a public presence on social media that do have private or confidential eBay stores as a way of just protecting their business, because I have spoken with other sellers that have a public presence on social media that deal with a lot of people, you know, buying things and then leaving negative feedbacks just to screw around with them. Or Rockstar Flipper has talked about before. He had someone come in and basically send an offer on half of the items in his store just to mess with him, you know, just stuff like that. So there is this risk involved with having a public presence on social media and having your store be public as well, because this is our business. We do ultimately make money from home selling things, and so we need to protect our store if we need to. So if anything ever happened with my public store, I do have my private store that I could fall back on. Now, you might consider having a secondary store if you had the opportunity to source wildly different kinds of merchandise and you didn't want to intermingle them. For instance, if you had a supplier and you wanted to sell a whole bunch of car parts, you might have a car part eBay store, but then on the flip side, you might also sell cosmetics and you don't want to intermingle cosmetics with car parts, you would have separate eBay stores. Now, I wouldn't go so crazy as to say you need to have two separate eBay stores if you're selling items that are similar but wildly different and you have large quantities of them. I do see there being a point in having two separate eBay stores. But as a general rule, I would just say go ahead and put everything in one store and just separate items by category, because then you're sharing feedback and you're growing a store and you're growing a presence on eBay without spreading yourself between two separate stores. Christina Ruggiero asks, "Hi Lindey." Hello, Christina. My question is regarding eBay's changes and new policies. Am I understanding correctly that at the end of the year, if I sell $20,000 or more or 200 items, that eBay will produce a 1099 for me? In my opinion, it doesn't seem right, because if I sell small profit items at 200 plus, which would be nothing even near $20,000, I'm concerned reaching the 200 limit. I'm selling my used items I've paid for and now I need to claim it. I'm a small seller and I'm trying to make money back for things I no longer need. I want to continue selling and I don't want to have to pay a CPA for what I make. Okay, so couple of things. First one, it is 200 transactions and $20,000 in sales. You have to hit both in order for eBay to generate a 1099 for you. So it's not one or the other, it's both in conjunction. That being said, you do need to still report profits to the IRS, even if eBay is not giving you a 1099. Because here's the thing, you don't wanna mess around with the IRS. If you are bringing in profits, if you have a business, even if you're not getting a 1099, the IRS is gonna know that you got money coming in. Anyone who thinks that they can skirt under the law because they didn't get a 1099 from eBay, I wanna live in your world because it sounds nice. The IRS knows that you have money coming in. The second point that I wanted to make is this part of your question where you say, I'm selling my used items I've paid for and now I need to claim it. If you are selling your own stuff, those are not profits. You are only having to claim profits on items that you've specifically purchased for resale. Because if you are selling items that you already own, you are selling them at a depreciated value. It's like, think about it like having a yard sale. If you had initially paid $50 for something and you're selling it at a yard sale for $20, you're taking a $30 loss on it. The only time it's technically a business profit is if you are buying something with the intent to resell for profit. That is a business profit. If you are just selling things that you already owned and you're just getting some money back for it, that does not need to be claimed. However, there is a fine line, and I am not a CPA, and what I say should not be taken as tax advice. I do recommend asking a CPA some questions. Even if you don't want to have a CPA file your taxes for you, just getting some information from a CPA where you live can be very beneficial, because things do change depending on where you live. There can be different regulations depending on your state. So definitely ask a CPA, call a CPA, see if you can meet with one to get some questions answered. A lot of the times they can help answer some basic questions and you can still do your taxes yourself. All right, we've reached the time where we find out who our 14th winner is of the free lot from Wholesale Ninjas. Drum roll, please. The winner chosen by random comment selection is Claire Brockway. Claire, congratulations. I have already replied to your comment. Just get with me and I will make sure that you get your free lot from Wholesale Ninjas. Claire asks, how do you stay motivated in your basement space? I have all of my inventory in a cold, dingy, unfinished basement, and it makes my heart hurt. Maybe it's just me. I really like my space to be as lovely as possible. Ugh. I am so there with you, Claire. I am so there with you. My basement storage at my old house was so dark and I hated being down there. You know, I loved my business. I loved what I did, but I hated being down there because it was so dark. And in that space, I did not have the option for overhead lighting. It was partially finished and we had an electrician come in and it was just, it wasn't gonna work. But in the basement that I have now, I had a very similar problem, but the basement wasn't finished at all, so I had more options. So you said you have an unfinished basement. So let me give you some suggestions. This is what I did with my current situation to try to make the basement inventory space a lot more inviting, even though it's a dark, dingy basement. So the first thing that I did that made a huge difference was light. Light everywhere, because the biggest problem, I think, is the fact that it's unfinished, but it's also dark, and you said dingy. So one of the things that I did in my basement, it was really, really dark. I added as much overhead lighting as I could. Now that sounds like an expensive project, right? But it's really not, because what I ended up doing is I ended up buying shop lights. And I'm not talking about like the tube fluorescent bulbs, the ones that flicker. No, those give me a headache. I got the shop lights that have like the LED daylight strip lights in them. So it's like bright daylight, because if you do overhead lighting, the dinginess and the dark is not going to be helped by soft white or yellow bulbs or fluorescent tube lighting. It's not gonna help, it's gonna make it worse. You want daylight. So the first thing that we did when we moved in was we had a couple of outlets installed in the ceiling, because the ceiling is not finished, because having a couple of outlets installed in the ceiling allowed us to hang shop lights that had those daylight LED strip lights in them, and we could connect all of them and just simply screw them into the beams and hang them down. Oh my gosh, having daylight LED lights all over the basement helped tremendously. It's so much brighter down there. It almost doesn't even feel like a basement when I have all of my shelving units up. The next thing I recommend is clearing out clutter, because clutter in your basement is going to keep it feeling super duper dingy. So if you have all of your shelving units up and you have bright lighting, if you don't have clutter and trash all over the place, it's going to help it not feel so dark and dingy. The light will be able to make it feel a lot brighter and a lot homier. Now, step 3 for me, I haven't been able to accomplish yet, and who knows if I'm ever going to get there, but one of the things that I would recommend you do after doing the first and the second thing is to get really fun storage bins. So if you get colorful storage bins, if you get it organized, if you make it look really pretty while you're down there, you're going to enjoy being down there a little bit more. And now everything could be uniform, or everything can be kind of mixed up and fun. Like maybe you have some pink storage bins, some clear ones, you know, maybe you have fun little signage on the outside of the bins. Maybe all the bins are the same color, but you have fun signage on the outside of the bins to just make it look a little bit more pretty. All of these little things can really help liven up the dark, dingy basement space. But I would say the number one thing is definitely lighting. And going back to the lighting, those shop lights, I bought, I think it was 10 shop lights for roughly $170, so roughly $17 a light. And we just hung them ourselves, and it was a couple $100 to get the outlets installed in order to be able to plug them in. So really for under $500, not even, shoot, under $300, we were able to brighten the entire basement inventory space. And it's so much more enjoyable. And just make sure to keep all of it free of clutter, maybe do some cute little bins. Because remember, even though it's an unfinished basement, it doesn't mean that you can't do little things around the basement to make it look prettier. Even putting down a really small, pretty accent rug can make it feel a lot less like an unfinished, dingy basement and more like your home business storage space. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and this video series, please do give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to submit your question down in the comments below. Just make sure to put the 5 question marks indicating entry into the next giveaway. The next episode of Frequently Asked Fridays will be posted on Friday, March the 26th. Anything that I referenced in this video, you will find down in the video description. I'll also pin it to the top pinned comment in the comment section. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.